Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We gotta add a little addendum to the show map today, and shall we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the Vietnam War. The government has been getting bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show where we bring you the latest in everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and I am extremely excited to bring you today's piece of content because today we are going to be talking about Bitcoin's recent rally back up to $90,000. Can Bitcoin break through the all-important resistance at $91,000? Can Bitcoin buck the trend of crashing following the realization that Donald Trump's tariffs were not just a threat, they are real, and now they are actually in full force here in the North American continent. We have full tariffs now on Canada and on Mexico, which means that products coming in from those two nations will be seeing at least 25% inflation almost immediately. What kind of impact is this going to have on the United States stock market? More importantly to us and our topic, what impact will this have on Bitcoin? And as we always like to do, what applications can we bring right now out of this news? How can we start making wise decisions today to set ourselves up for the future? We want to figure out how to invest in cryptocurrency, how to actually build what we call financial sovereignty, which is our core guiding philosophy. If you're new to the channel, financial sovereignty essentially means this: we are to be in control over our wealth rather than our wealth controlling us. So many of us are slaves to debt. We are slaves to chaos. There's just an absolute mess. There's a dumpster fire. You have no idea where your money's going. You don't know what you're making. You don't know what you're spending on it. You don't know what you're spending it on. And the things that you do know you're spending it on, you know you shouldn't be spending it on. There's not a plan. There's not a structure. There's not investments. There's not savings for the future. It's all a mess. We got to clean it all up. You came into crypto because you know that there's something wrong, and you think that if you just buy a little Bitcoin or buy the right altcoin, you're going to be good. But it's a little bit more complicated than that. It's not crazy complicated. It's relatively simple, but there is more to it, and we're going to look at it all because I want you to genuinely succeed. This is not the channel where you're just going to come and learn about a new chart formation, although I am a technical analyst and one of the best in the industry. I am, however, going to teach you a lot more than just how to read the markets. I'm going to teach you how to prosper financially and have actual wealth, and no, it's not my secret sauce. No, it's not the secret formula. If you just watch our webinar, then you'll learn exactly how to shed 75 pounds in the next 2 days. Now, this is not BS. This is not hokum. This is the exact plan that people have been following for the last several thousand years on how to build wealth. And if you do what we're going to teach you, you will grow, virtually guaranteed. Unless something crazy happens, like a meteor hits your house and your insurance company goes bankrupt on the same day, you're going to do better than you are right now. So please, come with me on this journey towards financial sovereignty. Let's get control over our wealth, which is the actionable, which will then lead to the fruit, which is financial peace, stability, security, and joy. Most importantly, though, let's not forget the ability to be generous, because God so loved us that he sent his only begotten Son into the world, that all who should believe should not perish but have everlasting life. May we, therefore, likewise be generous with the world and bless them however we can. Let's read some chat. I love that you're all here today. I'm so excited. Rick4962 is in chat. Joe Bollier's in chat. Felix Skills 1428 in chat. Crypto Surge in chat. Blasnik called out. Miguel Orangel is in chat. Nicholas is in chat. Brian, Bjorn, Joel Elbs, Rashad Williams, Schmedley B. Oya Kodon in the chat. Welcome everybody who is here. Let's take a quick sip of our coffee here. You know, side note, I keep going back and forth on whether I drink coffee or not. And what ends up happening is I either end up going off and not drinking it for 3 months, or I end up drinking too much of it and I have too much caffeine. And what I've realized is that we've got to have it in moderation. Whatever we're going to do, if we're going to do something, we've got to make sure that it's under control. It all goes back to the idea of sovereignty. I've got to make sure that I have control over coffee instead of it controlling me. So if at any point caffeine, I'm like, man, I have to have it. I'm addicted to this. That's where I got to back up. I got to take a few days without coffee. That's kind of what I'm learning, right? You've kind of seen that on the stream. Like, I'm not drinking coffee. I'm drinking coffee. Like, which is it, Jeb? Make up your mind. What I've kind of realized is it's a little bit like the ideas of drunkenness and gluttony. It really comes down to whether or not you are hurting yourself or not. Are you hurting yourself, and are you in control of yourself? If not, there's an issue that you need to do something about. We have a lot of interesting things to talk about here today. Right now, very exciting. Bitcoin is attempting a break through $91,000. I very much hope it does, because there's a lot of hype right now. Right now, we're dealing with a buy the rumor style situation. What I mean by that is tomorrow, there is going to be the White House Crypto Summit. Let me pull up something up on this. The White House Crypto Summit is going to be happening tomorrow, on Friday. We're going to be seeing 1:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. That's the main thing I was trying to look up, the times. 1:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, March the 7th. David Sachs, President Trump's AI and crypto czar, is expected to lead the White House Crypto Summit. There are a lot of people that are going to be there. Brian Armstrong is going to be there from Coinbase. Brad Garlinghouse from XRP is going to be there. Charles Hoskinson from Cardano is going to be there. You're going to see Changpeng Zhao, former CEO and founder of Binance, be there, along with Elon Musk and many other individuals that have worked in or do currently work high up in the cryptocurrency industry. We do not know what this will bring, but it will almost certainly bring discussion about the future cryptocurrency strategic reserve, which makes sense because the founders of every single project that was listed for the crypto strategic reserve are there, except of course Satoshi, which I would imagine Satoshi has an open invite, but Satoshi is probably dead. We have no idea where he is or who he is. He's probably dead. He's probably just not alive anymore. You're probably never going to meet Satoshi, so don't get your hopes up. The fact of the matter is, this is happening tomorrow. The other fact of the matter is, this will almost certainly, this isn't a fact, but it's an opinion, this will almost certainly lead to discussion about a crypto strategic reserve. We are almost certainly going to get more information on the crypto strategic reserve. This is almost certainly going to have a major impact on the market, and there are three ways that it could go. Let's talk about all three of them. Oh my gosh, Jeb, you say that? Yeah, I know. I'm aware. The market can go up or the market can go down. Like literally, that's how all of analysis is based. We look at all of the scenarios, we figure out which one's more likely, and we prepare for all of them. I am not the channel here where you're like, oh my gosh, Jeb's got a crystal ball. Jeb's Nostradamus. This guy predicted the 2008 financial crisis, and now he says, we get a lot of calls right. But listen, it's not I don't want you betting your entire financial portfolio on whether I'm right or not. That's too much pressure. I'm not interested in that. What I want to do, which this is where I'm talking about, we're cutting the bull crap. There's a lot of it out here in financial media. We're cutting the bull crap. Instead of me saying, I'm perfect, I'm right every time, follow me because I'm perfect and you're not. That's not how we roll. The way we roll is I want you to be ready for everything. Because that's how I actually benefit you instead of just stroking my own ego. I want you to be ready whether we go up, down, or sideways, understand why each one of those outcomes may happen, and be prepared to act responsibly in each situation. So let's talk about that as it stands right now. Obviously, well, duh, Jeb, we can go up, sideways, or down, but let's qualify what that means. There are three ways that tomorrow can go. Either one, we do see talk of a crypto strategic reserve, and maybe we even see the executive order get signed just right there in the middle of the summit. It could happen. We don't know. Could happen. Or we could get a date, right? We could, let's just kind of run down a few possibilities. Crypto strat reserve signed. That could happen tomorrow. We moonshot. Bitcoin hits $100,000 overnight. 2, date of signing announced. Maybe we get an announcement that the crypto strategic reserve is going to be signed on XYZ day. Maybe we find out, hey, it's going to be signed in April, and we're going to see the actual creation and the beginning of the acquisition of this cryptocurrency. Now, side note here, we got to mention here, I don't really want the crypto strategic reserve to be done by executive order. Because something that people don't understand is that even though an executive order is a lot faster than an act of Congress, it is a lot more fragile than an act of Congress. If Congress passes a law creating a Bitcoin and or strategic crypto reserve, then that means it has to be repealed by Congress. Naturally, Congress was designed by our forefathers to be slow. It's not slow just because of inefficiency and corruption. It's slow because it was designed to be slow. You don't want the most important legislative body in the history of mankind to move too quickly and act too rashly. It will take longer to get a strategic reserve passed through Congress, but it also means that if we have a Democrat or someone, or even a Republican that gets elected after Donald Trump that doesn't like the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency strategic reserve, maybe Bitcoin goes through a bear market, it becomes extremely unpopular, and whoever comes next campaigns on selling it off. If it's an act of Congress, then Congress has to repeal it, and Congress has a lot going on. I mean, come on, they've got all these parties to go to. They've got all these elevators that they have to go up and down. They've got, I mean, Congress, they're busy people, man. They got a party on the rooftop. You know, they just have a lot to do. They've got a lot to do. They're very busy folk doing nothing, but they're very busy, right? They're kind of like the guy that lives in the mom's basement. He's like, I'm very busy right now, Mom. I can't talk. Well, what are you doing? I'm playing Fortnite. Well, I'm here to ask if you're going to help me with rent. Well, I'm playing Fortnite right now, Mom. I can't help. That's basically what we got going on in Capitol Hill. They're very busy, right? Very busy. So show some respect. But nevertheless, since they're very busy, they don't move very fast. It's also because half of them are in the triple digits in age. But the other consideration here is that since it moves slower, it'd be slower to get it acted, get it signed. But it would be better if Congress did it. Why? Well, the reason is because the next administration can't undo it. So we might see, to get back on topic here, we might see the date of the signing of the executive order announced, which would be great. That'd be awesome. We'd love to see that. Just keep in mind that if the executive order does get signed, if an executive order for the creation of cryptocurrency strategic reserve is signed, we are going to want to campaign for the next 4 years during Trump's presidency for it to be codified into law by an act of Congress. And this may be what happens. Maybe we start out with an executive order, an EO, and then it goes over to Congress. I have no idea how you draw Congress. Like this, boom, like that. I don't know. Looks like a strawberry birthday cake. I have no idea. It could start out as an executive order, and then an act of Congress could take it over and repackage it into an actual a legislation that'll stick around. So maybe we see the date of the signing of the executive order with hopes in the future of it being codified into law by an act of Congress, which would be a lot more stable. That'd be where we're like, okay, this isn't going anywhere. No president can come in and repeal the crude oil strategic reserve. You just can't do that. That's not the way it works. You just cannot do that. You can walk in first day as president and repeal any executive order you freaking want, because you can sign your own executive order that says, nana, nana, boo, boo, the one before me is null and void, which is basically what happens anytime you get a new president in office. So we might see that. On the other hand, we might see zero talk at all about a crypto reserve. Zero talk at all. Maybe this is just a bunch of people that are super rich getting together to talk about things. And maybe they don't talk about a crypto strategic reserve at all. I find this to be highly unlikely, knowing the caliber of people in the room. Michael Saylor is going to be in that room. He's an alpha. He drives the conversation. I've had an interview with Michael Saylor. I have met Michael Saylor. I know Michael Saylor. He is a very big personality, and he's going to have his way, and he's going to wave around the fact that he's the richest person in the room short of Elon Musk. He got there because of Bitcoin, and he is going to be pushing very hard for a strategic reserve. We also have Hoskinson here. If you've watched anything of Hoskinson has talked extensively about how the very fabric of democracy rides on whether or not we can trust our governmental institutions. If we cannot trust our governmental institutions, you end up moving into the direction of anarchy and social and cultural upheaval, and eventually into revolutionary civil war. You see the complete destruction of society. This is the kind of thing Charles Hoskinson is talking about. It's the kind of thing that's on his heart. You need to have blockchain technology baked into government so that we can get trust again. He made a very important point in one of his interviews. Actually, I think it may have been the interview we did with him. I've also met Hoskinson. I've interviewed him twice. I've interviewed him once. If we see him in the room, which he is, then we're probably going to see some talk there about how important it is for blockchain to be in government. We've got Brian Armstrong, Changping Zhao. I very highly doubt it that we're not going to see any talk at all about the crypto strategic reserve. So more likely than that is that no announcement is made. This is a very real possibility. And if that plays out, and here, back up. Why are we going through these reasonings? Because I want you to be watching what's going on tomorrow between 1:30 and 5:30. as you start to see things play out, I want you to say, okay, if this happens, that's going to do this to the chart. If this happens, that's going to do this to the chart, so that you can know what's going to happen to the chart before it happens in case you want to trade it. That's why we're doing this. And also so that you can make investments if you're trying to buy, right? If no reserve announcement is made, if it's 5:30 and nobody has said anything about, hey, we're having a crypto strategic reserve, here's the day, there's another 10, then this whole rally that we've witnessed over the last 48 hours, because we've seen a nice rally, 2 of them. 2 big, beautiful rallies, built an inverse head and shoulders pattern right here. If we see no talk at all about a crypto strategic reserve, or we see just talk and no action or no promise of action, Bitcoin plummets, because this entire recovery off of $78,000 is predicated on us getting some movement on the strategic reserve. The reason that we're rallying at all is because of that hope. That hope, the bulls, right? The bulls over here. The bulls over here are saying, but there's a crypto strategic reserve coming. The bears over here are saying, but tariffs are screwing the entire market. If the bulls lose their only strong bullish short-term argument, de facto, the bears win. Okay? So we need to see, if we want to see the market to be held up, we need to see some kind of very serious movement on the cryptocurrency strategic reserve. By the way, I'm getting a haircut in like 3 hours. I really need it. Been out of town. If we don't, then you're probably going to see a correction. If you see no talk at all about the crypto strategic reserve, market's probably not going to do anything. Probably going to do a whole lot of nothing. Maybe a bit of a correction, because a lot of the bullishness that we've seen recently has come from the hopes of that. But if not, then you're not going to see a whole lot happen at all. Hope you guys are enjoying today's video. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Okay. Crypto Surge said, nice Spanish, Jeb. You need to go to Puerto Rico and learn where Sarah is from. It's amazing and beautiful there. You would love it. Always wanted to go to Puerto Rico. It's a beautiful, beautiful island from what I hear. Love it very much. Let's see. Really appreciate you guys. Let's read a little bit of chat and then we'll continue moving right along. Some funny chats. All right. Let's get moving on here with some let's get moving right along here with some technical analysis, because we don't want to just talk about sentiment. We also want to talk about technical analysis. So let's start with a clean chart. Love this, guys. Love this, love this, love this. Bitcoin was in a range here between $73,800 at the top, $50,000 at the bottom. This was our range. Then Donald Trump got elected, and we jumped up to a range between 91,000 and 109,000. This was our second range. This was our first range. This was our second range. And right now, largely due to the tariffs, this is our third range right here. You see, what happened is Bitcoin basically is doing this out of order. Bitcoin is basically moving out of order. Bitcoin would, in a traditional market where you don't have the first pro-cryptocurrency president, moved in this order. 1, 2, 3. We would have broken 73.8, and 73.8 to 85 or 100 would have been our range. But instead what happened is we got so hyped about Trump that we rallied all the way up here, skipped the zone between 73.8 and 91,000, and now everybody up here around $100,000 is saying, wait a minute, I bought him back here at 60. I'm trading at 100, and there's this massive void beneath us that we're probably going to fill, since we didn't trade there at all, and normally we do. So therefore, since I bought at 60, and it's $100,000 per Bitcoin, say 3 weeks ago, I'm going to sell. And so the sell side pressure right now is not actually coming so much from the bears. To some degree, it is, because the tariffs are scaring people. But to a great degree, the sell side pressure that we're experiencing right now is not so much the bears, in my opinion. The sell side pressure that we are experiencing right now is more so the bulls. Well, Jeb, wait a minute. Bulls don't sell. Yeah, they do all the time. Why? Because they want to buy in lower. A lot of bulls sold up here. They love Bitcoin, and they believe the bull market's going to continue. They see the data. Not a lot of people are very bearish on Bitcoin right now. It's kind of a rare stance. So if it's a rare stance, then why are we crashing? Because people are taking profits. This is not so much a panic sell. This is a, I'm rich, I'm taking profits sell, is what that is. People are taking profits up here. And then there is also some fear over the tariffs. Bitcoin does track, after all, with the United States S&P 500, and SPY is looking like it's trying to SP die, right? It's just not doing a whole lot. We are down about 5%. 6% over the last 2-3 weeks. We've been trading sideways since Trump's election as markets reel from the fact that they're going to be dealing with tariffs. I mean, theoretically, a lot of your products could go through 25% inflation overnight. If the not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily work that way. Probably won't be that much, probably more like 10 to 15%. It'll probably take a few months, but you're looking at a good bit of inflation when you have 25% tariffs because you can't tax a company. I forgot who said this. I heard someone say this recently, and it's really good. You can't tax a company. It doesn't work. You tax the consumer. If you raise taxes on a company, the company turns around and raises prices on the consumer. So these tariffs are not so much a tariff on Mexico and on Canada. They're actually a tariff on anybody who's buying Mexican and Canadian goods. In the long run, it will force investment in the United States, which Mexico and Canada are always kind of like on the teeter-totter. They're always willing to invest in Mexico and Canada. They just don't because it makes more sense to invest in their own soil. With these tariffs, it probably will mean that they'll invest more here. We're seeing that out of TSMC, for example. $100 billion investment coming in. So good news on the horizon there. But again, in the short term, you are looking at inflation. Categorically speaking, you are looking at inflation. It's just going to happen. No way around it. So the stock market is not liking that. Bitcoin tracks with the stock market, so it's not liking that. So we're in a holding pattern. Whatever happens tomorrow, short term, it's going to have a big impact. Long term, unless it's the announcement and the signing of an executive order to create the beginning phases of the crypto strategic reserve with a proposal to Congress to codify it into law so it cannot be undone by the next administration, at least easily, then what's about to happen tomorrow is probably not going to be as big of a deal as people think it is. What is going to happen tomorrow that's going to make a big deal to you or not is whether you make a decision to begin investing in Bitcoin, because the stock market is not going to trade sideways forever. The stock market is not going to trade sideways forever. Either it's going to go into a crash and Bitcoin will go into a premature bear market. You'll drop down to $50,000, and if you are wise, you will load up on coin. Or, on the other hand, things could go the other way and we end up going through a massive rally, and those of you that acquire now will be sitting pretty. So, with all this said, what should we do about it? Again, this show is not just about theory. I try and kind of move quickly through the theory to the application, to the teaching. And the teaching doesn't change that much, truthfully. It's kind of the same thing over and over again. If Bitcoin breaks the 20 daily exponential moving average here, it's probably going into an uptrend. If it rejects at $90,000 to $91,000 because of bad news, it's probably going into a downtrend. So how do we prepare for both scenarios? If we trade sideways, man, if you're dollar cost averaging, keep doing it. $90,000 is going to be a great entry in 5 years. 5 years ago, Bitcoin was trading. Let's just go back 5 years, right? Let's go back 60 months. Where was Bitcoin 60 months ago? 60 months ago, 5 years ago, March of 2020, Bitcoin was trading actually at the bottom in March, because that was the exact month that the COVID drop happened. So let's just be conservative. We've 10x'd in the last 5 years. If you cut that by a factor of 4 in the next 5 years, you could be looking at a 250% return from where we are right now. Let's cut that by a scale factor of 4. In 5 years, with much better fundamentals than we had back then, you could be looking at a 250% return, probably higher, in 5 years. So in March of 2030, you got to ask this question to yourself. Do you want to be sitting on, again, 250% rally, conservative prediction for March of 2030? Do you want to be sitting on a $316,000 Bitcoin? I do. That sounds amazing. I'd love to see a $316,000 Bitcoin. I've got a lot of Bitcoin. Love to see that. If so, $90,000 is a pretty solid entry, right? So if we continue trading sideways, just continue running your system as it stands. Continue dollar cost averaging. If we go through a major drop, if we drop down to 73, I'm buying coin. Like a lot of it. A lot of it. I'm going to hold that for the long term. And we're going to deploy some cash. We sit on a lot of cash, guys. I talk about this in our coaching calls all the time. I had a coaching call yesterday with, you know what's funny? Yesterday, I got to tell you this. Yesterday, we had a coaching call with a guy. I'm not going to say his name because he's probably watching right now. And I don't want, our coaching calls are confidential. But I will say this. I ran into him 3 years ago. He's the guy that walked up to me in Publix. He actually bought coaching. So I saw his face. I'm like, we know each other. Oh, you're that guy. Yeah. That was how the coaching call started. We had a great call. He comes up to me in Publix 3 years ago, right before my wife and I got married. So just a little over 3 years ago. And he says, hey, Jeb, I turned $300 into $450,000 in an altcoin. And I'm just like, wow, okay, awesome. I was like, did you cash it out? He's like, yep, cash it out at the very top. Made a 10,000% return, whatever that is. Had him in coaching yesterday. And, we're talking about things. And it was great. It was wonderful. I'm telling him about how we sit on a lot of cash. And the reason we sit on a lot of cash is because we want to be able to buy a dip if it occurs. Because we want to be able to buy the dip. And so we sit on a lot of cash. We sit on a lot of cash so we can buy the dip. And so if a dip comes, we're ready. And I want you to be in that position where if a dip comes, you're ready. So make sure to do that. Make sure you're in a position where you're ready. Now let's talk a little bit about the White House Crypto Summit tomorrow. Investors.com has a good article on this. Crypto anticipation is building for the White House Crypto Summit on Friday. The first of its kind event could potentially mark the launch of the United States Strategic Crypto Reserve. Possibly. We hope so. Several industry leaders and members of the President's Crypto Task Force are expected to attend. Meanwhile, Bitcoin and crypto prices rebound modestly on Wednesday ahead of the summit, which is today. Many suspect the Trump administration will officially launch the United States Strategic Crypto Reserve and provide more details about how it will operate. Which honestly, and this is my thoughts on this, honestly, I do think that is likely. It makes sense. It tracks with the beats of the administration so far. We've had a very bullish administration that's been very bullish on cryptocurrency, very pro-cryptocurrency, very inclusive to the altcoins. We've got an administration that's trying to move very fast. So it makes sense that after a month and a half into the administration that they'd be looking at making some kind of big announcement. And at the first crypto summit in the White House, there's no better forum to do that than there. Trump at the same time said the reserve would include alternative cryptocurrencies such as XRP, Solana, and ADA. A Bitcoin strategic reserve is something the president is interested in. He spoke about it all during the campaign trail, and I think you're going to see it executed on Friday, Lutnick said. Now, there will be questions, how do we handle the other cryptocurrencies? And I think the model is going to be announced on Friday when we do that. So Bitcoin is one thing, then there's the other currencies, the other crypto tokens I think will be treated differently, positively, but differently. This is something that a lot of people have talked about, that they are expecting that there's actually going to be a Bitcoin strategic reserve, and there's most likely going to be a similar kind of reserve, but for the rest of the altcoins. I think that is appropriate. Bitcoin is in a weight class of its own. It is the only cryptocurrency that does not have a founder, praise God. Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever they are, assuming they didn't just die and that's why they disappeared, made an ultimate sacrifice that reminds me a lot of the sacrifice that General George Washington made at the beginning of our country. Laid the foundation for a culture of honor and respect. Just a bit of a history lesson here. After the Revolutionary War, pretty much everybody in the leadership of the Continental Army in the late 1770s approached George Washington and told him that they would give him a crown. And they said, we love you so much. You saved us all. Being the leader of the Continental Army, here's the crown. You can be our king. You will be royalty. He turned it down. He said no. And so the office of the president was established, and the word president at the time was a very lowly term. It's like you're the president of the chess club. We still use that term for kind of lowly leadership. You're the president of the HOA. It's supposed to be almost kind of a demeaning term. Like, you're not the CEO. You're not the boss man. You're just the president. It's like, it's not a big deal. Nowadays, president basically means king. At the time, you use the term president, and they use the term president to make it seem like a lowly position. He turned down the crown. He could have been king. He could have been the king. We would live in a monarchy in the United States right now if he had have said yes. It was that simple. One decision in history completely changed the future. And that's a very honorable thing. It makes us have this kind of respect for him. Not that he was perfect, but we respect that decision because it was good for everybody else, even though it wasn't necessarily glory to him. It was self-sacrificial love for the nation that he just fought for, which characterizes his tenure as general. Now, it's something kind of similar to what we saw happen with Satoshi. We don't know, and we probably never will know, but I don't think Satoshi just died. I think Satoshi genuinely took the exact same sacrifice that General George Washington did. No one's ever going to know who I am. I'm never going to have any fame. I'm never going to access hundreds of billions of dollars of Bitcoin, but because of that, this network is going to become all that it was meant to be. And that's why I think that Satoshi's not going to be there. And I also think that that's why Bitcoin is in a league of its own. And circling back to the actual topic at hand, I think what a lot of people are speculating is that the Bitcoin strategic reserve and the rest of the cryptocurrency strategic reserves are going to be separate, which would be appropriate as Bitcoin stands in its own weight class. Nothing can touch Bitcoin. It is in its own weight class. It is the only $1 trillion commodity that is man-made. It's the only $1 trillion commodity that's man-made. Now, that won't always be the case, but it was the first, and for a very long time, it is the only. Bitcoin is in a completely different league. We've been analyzing Bitcoin and watching its rise here for almost a decade. Nothing comes close. Well, Jeb, Bitcoin's inefficient. So is gold, but it's still worth $20 trillion because it's not all about transaction time. It's not all about throughput. We turn into nerds in the crypto space sometimes and say, well, somebody else has higher TPS. Well, it's not all about that. It's also about culture. Bitcoin has an origin story that's unlike anything else in the entire space. There is not a single other cryptocurrency worth anything where the founder could have been worth $100 billion and said, nope. The integrity of this project's story is more important. There has never been another cryptocurrency in the history of the industry that has had a more glorious creation account. Not one. Not one. Every single other creation of a cryptocurrency reads like a founder starting a company. Bitcoin is the only one where someone created it, was basically offered the throne as the richest person on planet Earth, and said, nope, because that is not what this asset needs. This is bigger than I am. This is more important than I am. Love Bitcoin. Now, I do think that we're going to see some announcements. David Sachs has talked about Donald Trump's crypto czar has talked about how some big things are coming. It just makes sense. I do believe that we're going to be seeing a lot of announcements there. Now, who's going to be there? MicroStrategy's Michael Saylor will be there. Strategy's Michael Saylor will be there. Armstrong's going to be there. Robinhood CEO, Chainlink co-founder Sergey Nazarov, Exodus CEO JP Richardson, Bitcoin Magazine CEO David Bailey, Matt Huang, co-founder of Paradigm, Kyle Samani, who's the partner in Multi Capital, Kraken CEO. Obviously, we're also going to have, among others, we're going to have Vitalik's going to be there. Anatoly Yakovenko of Solana is going to be there. A lot of big names are going to be there. Everybody's going to get in one room in the most important in the most important home in the entire world, right? The White House, to discuss what the future of cryptocurrency is going to look like in the United States. And I think that we're going to end up seeing a very, very, very large announcement. I hope so. All right, let's go ahead and read some chat. Pump or dump tomorrow, Jeb, your thoughts? I'm more so leaning in the pump direction, but naturally we have to see what's announced. We don't know what's going to be announced. If we knew what was going to be announced, then naturally it would have been the fact that it had already been announced. So we'll see. We'll see. Someone's saying that Charles Hoskinson is not going. I know that he was invited. It'd be interesting if he doesn't go. It was honorable, he would have donated his bag, but no, he is the biggest holder, even though it's not touched. If it was honorable, he would have donated his bag, but no, he is the biggest holder, even though it's not touched. The reason they didn't touch it is because if he touched it, then it would have discounted, it would have broken the story. It would have broken the story. He took it out of circulation. It's the same thing that Michael Saylor's talking about doing at the end of his life, is burning his coins. He took it out of circulation. He contributed to the scarcity of Bitcoin by saying this wallet will never be touched. 1 million Bitcoin. If he had donated the bag, then the bag would have ended up, I mean, it's a one-time thing, right? It's a one-time thing. Now, Bitcoin has a story that goes with it that will lead to far more wealth created. If we officially see a crypto strategic reserve announced tomorrow, we will almost certainly see a massive rally on Bitcoin, probably back up to all-time high, if not worse, if not more, not worse, if not more. Yeah. All right. Yeah, really appreciate you guys being there. We will see what happens here. Guys, if you want to learn more about how to succeed in the cryptocurrency market, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. We've got a lot of content here on YouTube, both that is up now and that is coming, that's going to teach you how to succeed in cryptocurrency. But I also would encourage you to sign up for the Financial Sovereignty Academy with the link in the description box down below if you've not already, because that's where we're going to teach you everything that you need to know about how to actually succeed with money. I want you to have a prosperous life. It is our plan, it is our vision and our mission to help you succeed financially and actually build true wealth. And the way that we do that is by following the 10 steps of the Financial Sovereignty Way and the 7 laws of money. And I want you to go ahead and sign up for the Financial Sovereignty Academy so that you can learn more about just that. So if you have not already, make sure to check out FinSov Academy. The link is in the description box down below. We have a lot of content over there teaching you how to forsake foolishness, declare war on chaos, and choose to be financially sovereign. If you want to learn how to succeed with money, then we are here to teach you. All you have to do is sign up with the link in the description box down below. Let's read a little bit of chat before we wrap it out. To build Bitcoin reserves, it will take years. That's right. That's right. Out of curiosity, are you a trader or an investor? I am an investor. I've been a trader at different points in my life, but I work full-time running the business here. Just have a lot going on. Don't have time. Here's the reason. I can be very successful trading. I've done it before. The reason that I don't devote 12 hours a day to trading is because I can't make as big of an impact doing trading. I can make a lot of money doing trading, but for me, it's not about money. It's about impact. I can make a much bigger impact making videos, being on stream, building the Financial Sovereignty Academy. Friends, are you joking? Like, we can make so much more money trading than building FinSov Academy. At least I think, right? I mean, we've done it before. Financial Sovereignty Academy doesn't just print money. It's $104 a year, like $8 a month at most, $7 a month. This is not a money grab. I'm going to teach you guys how to be wildly successful, and then we're going to be wildly successful because we did that. I'd much rather invest in purpose and mission and impact than just having $5 million to trade. Could go down that route. It's just, it doesn't motivate me. It doesn't motivate me. What are your thoughts on the IMF and Bukele El Salvador continuing to buy Bitcoin? I think Nayib Bukele is the biggest troll in the history of the world. Everybody's always like, but El Salvador, they stopped buying Bitcoin. Yeah, they stopped buying it once a day, and then they bought enough Bitcoin to catch back up to where they would have been anyway. They're like, oh, we stopped buying it once a day, and then we buy 7 Bitcoin one day and 5 Bitcoin the next day. Yeah, I know. I'm following. They skipped buying Bitcoin every day for like 12 days, and they bought 12 in 2 days. They caught right back up to where they would have been anyway. Basically to troll the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, trying to give them a loan. They got the loan from the IMF. The IMF says basically you can't use this to buy Bitcoin, and they say, okay, we won't use it to buy Bitcoin. They don't buy Bitcoin for a few days. The IMF looks the other way, and then they buy Bitcoin with it. I just personally think it's hilarious. A lot of people think that El Salvador is doing a 180 on Bitcoin. I don't see that happening. I don't think that's what's happening. Let's see if we can find the website here. They did obviously move in the direction of allowing businesses to decide whether or not they would use Bitcoin. They stopped using it as like a state-sponsored cryptocurrency as the official currency of El Salvador. I don't see that as a bad thing for Bitcoin, because I don't think it ever really should have been official currency where every single business in El Salvador had to use it in the first place. Because there's some people that just frankly don't want to use Bitcoin, and they shouldn't be forced to either. You can't force somebody to adopt something, because if you do, they will just learn to hate it. It backfires quickly when you force somebody to do something. So I don't see that as a loss. A lot of people saw that as a loss with El Salvador. I see it as a fine thing. I just think that they're refining their wisdom on how to approach Bitcoin being an integral part of their society. And what was probably happening is a bunch of old people, a bunch of people that don't understand Bitcoin, young or old, are like, why the heck do I have to accept Bitcoin? This is just a pain in the butt. Frankly, it's not the best medium of exchange currency. It is going to cause some problems if you use it that way. So I think them backing out of that is actually taking it away as a legal tender. All that means is that businesses don't have to accept it anymore. If you force a business to accept Bitcoin and it's bad for their business, you're going to breed a bad taste in that business's mouth for Bitcoin. It's not good for Bitcoin to be forced on people. So the 2 points of concern that people have about El Salvador is that it's no longer legal tender. All that means is that the government is enforcing it on people. Good. Bitcoin was never supposed to be an authoritarian tool. It was supposed to be libertarian. It was always supposed to be optional, right? It was never supposed to be forced on people, so I didn't ever agree with that in the first place, being forced on businesses. And as far as them not buying Bitcoin, they just stopped buying Bitcoin for long enough to get more money from the IMF and screw the IMF over, and then they end up buying more Bitcoin. So like I don't see what the whole like fall of the Bitcoin dream in El Salvador is about. I don't see the concern personally. That's my take. That's what I take. So it's just it's very funny. So I hope you guys have enjoyed today's stream. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Love you guys. Justin Pelzer said, been tuning in for years now. It's cool to see how you've grown over the years. Well now, Jeb. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. There's a lot of growth that we've gone through. A lot of things that we're having to learn. A lot of things that we're bringing in the future. We know where we're going and we know how to get there, and we're going to be getting there with the blessing of the Lord. So yeah, just keep on keeping on. We appreciate all of you for being here. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Sign up for the Financial Sovereignty Academy if you've not already, so that you can learn more about how to build, maintain, and enjoy wealth. We're going to teach you how to be prosperous here under the sun and enjoy your life and be radically generous, which is the purpose of everything that we do. And I greatly look forward to seeing all of you guys in coaching, in the Financial Sovereignty Academy, and in future content. If you enjoyed today's video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.